So you are finally at the point where you are ready to work with a social media manager or a social media agency. You have hit that point where either your resistance to being on social media needs to stop or you are burned out from trying to run your social media on your own. Now that you are going on the hunt for a social media manager, let's talk about what getting your return on investment actually looks like, because this is something a lot of people don't think about when they actually look for an agency or hire a social media manager. My name is Rain and I am the founder of Garcia MediaWorks, a digital marketing and social media agency, and welcome to the GMW podcast. So, social media management is a big investment, and at GMW, we completely understand that, and we want to make sure you get the most bang for your buck. However, a lot of social media managers and agencies are not like that. They see you as a paycheck, they collect the money, and they don't really care about what happens after. There are a couple ways to tell if social media managers have integrity, and their analytics report is the first way to know. So at the end of the month, our clients get a detailed analytics report from the month prior. In that report, they get a breakdown of every analytic. So how many likes, how many shares, how many saves, all of those things, but also what they mean. Likes are great, views are great, and sometimes that is the goal, but we go even more in depth and explain the metrics that actually work for your business. If your goal is to get book sales or to sign more clients, we are looking at the saves most importantly. Who is saving your content to come back to later when they are ready to hire a coach or when they're looking to buy their next book? That is what's most important. If you are a business that is geographically based, so a restaurant, a bar, we're looking at the saves, yet again, for people to refer to when they come back, but also shares. People who are sending this to their friends or their partner or their family who's coming into town and saying, we have to go here. If your social media manager is only showing you the vanity metrics that don't align with your goals, like I said, sometimes likes and views are very, very important and do align with your goals. But if they are just showing you those, they're not breaking it down, they're saying, here's how many views we got this month, enjoy, that is a walking red flag. So what we do when we bring on new clients is we have a very in-depth onboarding call. So we get to know our clients, what their goal is, and one of the questions we ask them is, what does your return on investment with working with us look like? And sometimes they kind of pause and they don't have an answer and they haven't thought about it. All they know is, you came very highly recommended. I know that I need to be on social media, but I have not thought past that. So we work with them to figure out what that looks like. Do you have an upcoming book? Do you have a podcast launch? Do we want to get listeners? Is the podcast just a funnel to go back to your services? What are your main goals? And how do you get your money's worth? How do you get your money back tenfold when you are working with someone who's managing your social media? Once we figure that out, we know what analytics are most important, like how I just explained. And in their report, a good social media manager is not afraid to say, hey, we need to shift the strategy. We might need to rework this. We might be a little wrong about what we were going with, especially in the beginning. You want to see what is resonating with these clients' target audiences, and a good social media manager, if it is not working, is big enough to admit that we need to pivot. We noticed that this post got a lot of traction, so instead of doing this other content pillar, we're going to shift to really pushing and focusing on this. An example is, we have a client who just launched a new book, and the first post that we did for their book, it was a graphic. It got some tens of thousands of views. Great. The next thing that we did was we underlined passages from their book and we made a video. That got, just on feed on Instagram alone, 500,000 views. Then we shared on trial reels, 200,000, 14,000, 5,000, 100,000. And we kept going because we saw what worked. We were not afraid to pivot and make sure our client is reaching their goals in book sales, getting on bestseller lists, and doing actually what their return on investment needs to look like. And something at Garcia MediaWorks that we really pride ourselves on is our integrity. We want our clients to thrive. We love social media management. We are in this industry to see our clients thrive. We do not take on clients that we do not believe in. And some social media managers bank on the fact that their clients don't really understand social media. They can report these vanity metrics of high views and clients are thrilled. I've seen this happen with other agencies where people recommend and swear by their social media managers and that they've changed their life and changed their business. And when you talk to them, you just realize their audience has grown a little bit. Or even worse, their audience has not grown. They are getting these views from people who don't actually care about their content. It was a one-off viral video and the needle in their business was actually not moved at all. But a lot of people don't know actually how to define success in social media. If you you do not know before you are outsourcing, you need to figure out what that looks like, and you need to be very, very upfront with your team. Success with outsourcing will look like blank for me. And a social media manager will work with you. They will tell you, hey, that's just not realistic right off the bat. 100,000 followers in 1 month is not realistic. And a good agency will not make promises that they cannot keep. They will not promise a certain amount of views right off the bat or a follower count. They, however, will promise a strategy that will continue to tailor to your goals and work with you to ensure success. So if you are thinking that it might be time to outsource your social media management, make sure that you are knowing exactly what you are getting into. You want to get your money's worth. You want to achieve your goals. You don't just want someone posting TikToks for you and getting you high numbers that don't really do a whole lot besides give you high numbers for your ego. At the end of the day, a big ego does not grow your business, but it might be fun to show people. You want content that converts because your business deserves to be seen. If you have any questions about what ROI can look like for your specific niche, whether you want to work with us or not, send us a DM on Instagram, fill out our contact form that's going to be in the show notes, and we can talk to you about what that looks like, how to actually achieve your goals, and most importantly, make sure you get your money's worth. I will see you next week and every week with a new episode of the GMW podcast.